In the forgotten depths of the desert, where the wind whispers secrets long lost, archaeologists dare to touch the sands of time, unveiling a mystery capable of shaking the very foundations of faith. Kuntilat Ayrud, a place as remote as the abyss itself, concealed inscriptions that the world was never meant to see. There, on stones carved by time and despair, were etched the forbidden words, Yahweh and his Asherah. What curse have we uncovered by discovering the divine consort of the God of Israel? Who is this goddess who dares to stand beside the Almighty? Asherah, the mother of gods, the lady of fertility and life, was erased from the sacred records, condemned to oblivion. Yet the truth always finds a way to emerge from the shadows. Our ancestors tried to suppress her presence, but the bones of the earth cry out her name. Ancient inscriptions do not lie, and they scream what the priests of old feared. Yahweh was not alone. Asherah, whose name echoed in forbidden rites, was venerated in the shadows, in dark caves, in sacred groves. She was the protector of mothers, the goddess of harvests, the one who offered abundance even when the heavens closed. Yet, at some point in history, a dark pact was made. The kings and priests of Israel decided to erase her, disfiguring her image, destroying her altars, tearing her name from the scriptures. But the stones of Kuntilat Ayrud survived, silent witnesses of an ancient covenant. They reveal a past where monotheism did not reign supreme, but coexisted with ancestral forces that are now awakening. The rediscovery of Asherah is an omen, a sign that the sacred history, carefully shaped by the powerful, is not as immutable as we once believed. What else lies hidden in the sands of time? And above all, are we ready to face the cost of these revelations? The echoes of the past resonate within ancient stones, bringing forth secrets that time sought to silence. In forgotten ruins where only spirits roam, a new truth emerges from the forbidden texts of Ugarit, whispering a mystery that challenges the very fabric of faith. Yahweh, the God of hosts, the Lord of the heavens, was not alone in his glory. Beside him, hidden in the shadows of the texts, was a name that scribes tremble to erase, Asherah, the forgotten goddess. The inscriptions speak of ancient rituals, where men and women offered incense and songs to the Lady of Life. Texts engraved on clay tablets, now shattered, reveal that Yahweh and Asherah were worshipped together, a divine union that would shake the celestial throne. But time was cruel, and men even more so. In their quest for purity, the priests erased any trace of this union, fearing that the people would revolt against the one God. In the darkness of temples, feminine figures were broken, their faces erased, their names banished. Yet the voices of the past are persistent. Unearthed statues reveal traces of a maternal deity, protector of homes, while faded scrolls speak of secret cults where Asherah was invoked as the celestial queen, the guardian of fertility and love. In the forgotten corners of Israel, remnants of ancient worship still linger. At Kirbet el-Kham, inscriptions carved into the walls reveal prayers to the gods. Yes, gods, for Yah the only one to hear the supplications. Asherah was there, a shadow beside the Lord, a reminder that monotheism was not absolute, but an ideal imposed. And now, as we unearth these inconvenient truths, we ask ourselves, what else has been erased, burned, torn from the pages of history? What other goddesses, what other secrets were hidden, suppressed, so that a single voice would dominate? Asherah, the divine consort, returns to haunt the sacred narrative, demanding that her name be remembered, that her story be told. But are we ready to listen? What will happen when these secrets finally come to light? As the revelations of Asherah spread, a shadow of unease casts over the hearts of the faithful. The light of truth illuminating what was buried makes the religious world tremble. What happens when the pillar upon which faith was built begins to disintegrate? Monotheism, so deeply rooted in the traditions of the chosen people, now finds itself confronted by an ancient heresy, a truth that should never have been unearthed. The story of Yahweh, the one and supreme God, is now challenged by fragments of a reality where he was not alone, a divine conjugal bond that transcends the concept of a solitary, unbeatable, and absolute God. Yahweh and Asherah together side by side, in a partnership that rivals the myths of Greek or Mesopotamian gods, yet was erased from the sacred texts, excluded from all formal narratives. Those who dared to profane these sacred secrets will be seen as heretics. In those times, religious purity was a constant battle, and any trace of worship to another goddess was considered a threat to the dominance of Yahweh. Entire kingdoms became battlegrounds between the emerging monotheism and ancient cults. But what remains? What have we managed to save from a distant past where the veil of history concealed forgotten deities? Behind the scenes, far from the eyes of priests and prophets, secret traditions continue to survive, preserved by those who believe that the truth, no matter how disturbing, must be revealed. The accounts of Asherah did not disappear entirely, but were cut and distorted, transformed into ruins of a time no one wanted to remember. Today, as we study the inscriptions of Kuntilet Ajru, we see the scars of a god who, perhaps, was never the only one. The stones whisper stories of shared worship, of a god and his consort, of a divine bond that should never have been broken. Asherah, the guardian of life and creation, is more than a forgotten goddess. She is the key to a deeper understanding of religious history, a revelation of the limits of what we know and what we dare to question. We are on the brink of a new revelation. But the winds of the apocalypse do not bring easy answers. They challenge us to look into the abyss of history and ask, what else is buried and why was it denied to us? What lies beyond the curtain of orthodoxy? What will happen when the erased names finally emerge from the shadows? As the revelations of Asherah spread, a shadow of unease casts over the hearts of the faithful. The light of truth illuminating what was buried causes the religious world to tremble. What happens when the very foundation upon which faith was built begins to disintegrate? Monotheism, so deeply rooted in the traditions of the chosen people, now faces an ancient heresy, an undeniable truth that should have never been unearthed. The story of Yahweh, the one true and supreme God, is now challenged by fragments of a reality in which he was not alone. A divine partnership that transcends the concept of a solitary, unbeatable, and absolute God. Yahweh and Asherah, side by side, in a union that rivals the myths of Greek or Mesopotamian gods, but which was expunged from sacred texts and erased from formal narratives. Those who dare to desecrate these holy secrets will be branded as heretics. In those times, religious purity was a constant battle, and any trace of worship of another goddess was seen as a threat to Yahweh's dominion. Entire kingdoms became battlefields between the emerging monotheism and the ancient cults. But what remains? What have we salvaged from a distant past where the veil of history concealed forgotten deities? Behind the scenes, far from the eyes of priests and prophets, the secret traditions continue to survive, preserved by those who believe that the truth, no matter how unsettling, must be revealed. The accounts of Asherah did not vanish completely, but were cut and distorted, transformed into ruins of a time no one wanted to remember. Today, studying the inscriptions at Kuntilet Ajru, we see the scars of a god who may never have been the only one. The stones whisper stories of shared worship, of a god and his consort, of a divine bond that should never have been severed. Asherah, the guardian of life and creation, is more than a forgotten goddess. She is the key to a deeper understanding of religious history, a revelation about the limits of what we know and what we dare question. We stand on the precipice of a new revelation. But the winds of the apocalypse do not bring easy answers. They challenge us to look into the abyss of history and ask, what else is buried, and why were we denied it? What else lies behind the curtain of orthodoxy? What will happen when the names erased from the past finally emerge from the shadows? As the veil of history is torn away, the ancient forces that once lay dormant begin to stir. The rediscovery of Asherah is not just a historical revelation. It is a cosmic challenge. The truth, once buried under layers of dogma and manipulation, now emerges with the weight of centuries, and it threatens to unravel everything we thought we knew about divine power, creation, and the very fabric of the faith that has shaped our world. In the deepest recesses of time, when the winds of destruction were still a whisper, Yahweh and Asherah ruled together in harmony. The ancient scriptures, once thought to be infallible, now crack open, revealing a hidden narrative where the supreme God of Israel was not alone. His consort, the sacred mother, the giver of life and protector of creation, shared in the divine authority of the heavens. But this knowledge was too dangerous. The establishment could not allow such a blasphemy to flourish. So they erased her name. They wiped her from the texts, destroyed her symbols, and cast her into oblivion, casting Yahweh as the solitary, untouchable deity. The sacred feminine, once intertwined with the divine, was relegated to silence. But now, as the dust of millennia settles, we are forced to confront the truth that has been hidden for so long. The question that now looms over us is this: what else have we been denied? What other secrets have been buried beneath the weight of centuries of repression? The unearthing of Asherah is not the end. It is merely the beginning of a new chapter, one that will demand we reconsider everything we thought we knew about the nature of the divine. And as we peer into this abyss of lost knowledge, we must ask, are we ready for the consequences of uncovering these forbidden truths? The time for silence is over. The winds of change are blowing, and the world will never be the same again. The revelation of Asherah's existence is but the first tremor of a cataclysmic upheaval. The ancient gods who were thought to have vanished, erased by the hands of history, are now clawing their way back to the surface. What was once hidden in the deep crevices of forbidden knowledge is now exposed, and with it, the very foundation of monotheism begins to crumble. We are standing at the edge of a precipice, gazing into the abyss of a truth that could shatter everything we hold sacred. Asherah's name, silenced for centuries, speaks now with a voice of thunder. She was not just a footnote in the ancient world. She was a force, a co-regent of the divine order. Together with Yahweh, she shaped the heavens and the earth, brought forth life and sustenance, and governed the world with a power that few can comprehend. And yet, in a single stroke, the religious authorities erased her. They consigned her to myth, to the shadows, as they built an empire of a singular, unyielding God. But the truth cannot be suppressed forever. As the secrets spill forth, the ancient texts and ruins reveal more than just the names of gods long forgotten. They expose a hidden agenda, a deliberate distortion of history that reaches deep into the heart of religious doctrine. The forces that shaped the biblical canon sought to consolidate power, to control not just the people, but the very nature of divinity itself. But as the sands of time shift, the truth reclaims its place. The question now is not just about the goddess Asherah, but about the very nature of belief and authority. What happens when a lie, centuries old, is exposed for what it truly is? The unmasking of Asherah's role forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that our faith as we know it may be based on a foundation of deception. And as we stand on the edge of this revelation, we are faced with an inescapable choice: to embrace this forbidden truth and face the consequences, or to retreat back into the comfort of ignorance, forever blind to the forces that have shaped our world. The winds of revelation are gathering strength. The apocalypse is not a singular event. It is the relentless unraveling of lies, the dismantling of empires built on falsehoods, and the awakening of ancient powers long buried. The story of Asherah is just the beginning. What comes next will be a reckoning for all of us. The revelation of Asherah's existence is the spark that ignites an inferno of truth, burning away the carefully constructed facade of monotheistic control. For centuries, the powers that be have buried her, but her name now emerges from the ashes of forgotten history, demanding to be known. The once sacred texts that spoke of Yahweh's solitary rule now tremble under the weight of this truth. There was once another, a goddess, a queen of heaven, whose influence stretched across the heavens and the earth, her power intertwined with the very fabric of creation. As the scriptures crumble, the question grows louder: how much of what we have been taught is a lie? The ancient powers, those who constructed the Bible, erased Asherah, not simply to silence her, but to redefine the divine order. The monotheistic God of Israel, as we know him, is a construct, an imposition of singularity over what was once a divine partnership. And now, as the mists of centuries part, we see the true structure of the heavens, a cooperative dance between Yahweh and Asherah, not a solitary throne. But the implications go beyond the realm of the ancient gods. What does it mean for us in this present age to confront the hidden truths of our past? What do we do with a revelation that shatters the very foundation of our religious beliefs? Those who wish to maintain the status quo will fight to silence this truth, but the winds of change cannot be stopped. The floodgates have opened, and the floodwaters of knowledge will not retreat. The return of Asherah marks the beginning of a new epoch, an era where old dogmas must be questioned and new spiritual understandings must emerge. Those who continue to deny this revelation will find themselves swept away by the tide of awakening, as the ancient truths demand their place in the light. The apocalypse is not some distant future event, it is the awakening to the lost realities of our past and the challenge of facing those truths head on. The foundations are crumbling and the final hour approaches. Will we accept this revelation, or will we continue to live in the darkness of our own making? Asherah's return is the harbinger of something greater, a reordering of the divine, the dismantling of lies, and the rebirth of a sacred feminine power that was always meant to stand beside Yahweh. The world will never be the same again. The apocalypse is here, and the truth will either set us free or destroy everything we thought we knew. The winds howl louder now, heralding the storm that no one can escape. Asherah's name, whispered in the forgotten corners of history, has broken free from its tomb. The earth trembles as the truth spreads like wildfire, sweeping through the pillars of faith, shaking them to their very core. For centuries, we lived in the illusion of a singular God, Yahweh, the all-powerful, all-knowing force who reigned alone over heaven and earth. But that illusion is shattered, and with it, the very foundations of religion as we know it. What happens when the divine narrative is broken open? What are the consequences of discovering that Yahweh, the solitary God we've worshipped for millennia, was not alone in the heavens? Asherah, her name, once erased, now echoes across the ages. She was the sacred consort, the goddess of fertility, the protector of life, the one who stood beside Yahweh in the creation of all things. She was not an afterthought, not a footnote to a greater story. She was a central figure in the divine pantheon, erased only to maintain the control of an emerging singular God. And now we must ask, what else has been hidden? What other sacred truths have been buried beneath layers of tradition and dogma? The unearthing of Asherah is the opening of Pandora's box, a flood of questions that will drown the old order. The truth is dangerous. It destabilizes everything. It forces us to reconsider the way we see the divine, the way we understand our place in the world. As the ancient forces stir, the old powers tremble. Those who once controlled the narrative will stop at nothing to suppress this awakening. They will fight to keep the truth buried, to protect the status quo. But the age of ignorance is over. The world is entering a new phase, one where the sacred feminine rises again, one where the balance of the divine is restored. The apocalypse is not a distant event. It is here, in this very moment. It is the unmasking of centuries of lies, the exposure of a divine partnership that was hidden from us. Asherah's return is a warning and a promise. The gods have awakened, and their reckoning is upon us. No one can hide from the truth any longer. The time has come for the world to face what has been buried for far too long, and it will change everything. Nothing will remain the same. The divine will no longer be one-dimensional. It will be revealed in its full, complex, and multifaceted glory. The world is at the edge of a divine rebirth. Are we ready to face it? The sky darkens, the air thick with the weight of untold revelations. Asherah's return is not a simple fact. It is the harbinger of an apocalypse unlike any other. For too long, humanity has lived under the illusion that the divine was a singular force, a one-sided monolith that stood alone in the heavens. But with the rising of this forgotten goddess, the illusion shatters, and the heavens themselves begin to tremble. Asherah was never meant to be erased. She was the partner, the equal, the goddess who stood beside Yahweh in the creation of the universe, a force that balanced his power, his creation. Her removal from history was no accident. It was a calculated effort to consolidate control over the people, to forge a narrative of absolute dominance, one that could not be contested. But now, the truth emerges from the cracks of a broken tradition. What are the consequences when the truth comes for us? What happens when we realize that the very structure of our faith has been built on a lie? Asherah's name, once buried and suppressed, now stands as a defiant testament to the suppressed feminine, the power that was hidden from us. Her awakening calls into question everything we've been told about the divine, about power, about creation. The divine is not just male. The divine is not just one. It is a union of forces, a harmony of energies. Yahweh and Asherah. each integral to the whole, each necessary for balance. But this balance is under attack. The world is shaking because the fabric of truth is being torn apart. As the old guard of religion scrambles to maintain control, the floodgates of knowledge burst open. What other truths lie hidden beneath the surface? What other gods, what other forces have been erased from our collective memory? The apocalypse is not an event that happens in the future. It is now. It is the shattering of the old world order, the unmasking of centuries of control, and the violent eruption of the divine feminine back into our consciousness. Asherah's return is not just a myth coming to life. It is the start of a new epoch, a time when the old lies are torn apart and the true nature of the divine is revealed. What will happen when the world faces the truth about its past? Will we accept it, or will we cling to the lies that have shaped us for millennia? The winds of change are howling now, and the apocalypse is here. There is no turning back. The divine is no longer what we thought it was. It is more, and the world will never be the same again. The air grows heavier, thick with the charge of a world on the brink of unraveling. Asherah's name has been whispered from the shadows, her forgotten power stirring the dormant embers of ancient fires. What was erased is now resurrected, and with her return, the heavens themselves begin to tremble. The lies of centuries are exposed, and with each truth that comes to light, the fabric of reality stretches and groans under the weight of its own contradictions. The single God narrative that has dominated the earth for millennia begins to collapse. Yahweh, the solitary, all-powerful deity, is no longer the unchallenged ruler of the cosmos. Asherah, the goddess of fertility, creation, and the divine feminine, emerges from the ashes of history, her power undeniable, her presence a force that cannot be denied. She was not a lesser deity, a mere footnote in the annals of time. No, she was and is the equal of Yahweh, a partner in the divine plan. Together, they shaped the world. Together, they governed the heavens. But this truth was buried, erased, because it threatened the absolute dominion of the singular God. And now, as the walls crumble and the truth spills forth, humanity faces a terrifying reckoning. What does it mean for us in this moment to confront a God we thought we knew? What happens when we realize that the divine was never as we imagined it? The very foundation of faith, of religion, is rocked by the rediscovery of a power long hidden. Asherah was not forgotten by accident. She was hidden by design, erased to ensure that no force could challenge the monotheistic empire that would dominate for centuries. But now, as the stones of ancient temples crack and the winds of change sweep across the land, we must face the truth that has been buried beneath the surface. The world stands on the precipice of a new age. As the sacred feminine reawakens, it calls forth the end of an old world, one based on lies, oppression, and control. The apocalypse is not a distant future event. It is now. It is the collapse of a system built on falsehoods, the dawning of a new understanding of the divine, and the return of balance to a broken world. Asherah's rise is a sign that the old order is being undone. The divine is no longer one-dimensional. It is whole, it is complex, and it is here to reclaim what was always hers. The question now is, will we accept the truth? Or will we cling to the shattered remnants of a broken faith, too terrified to face the storm of revelation? The world is changing, and nothing will remain the same. The apocalypse is here, and with it, a chance for rebirth. A chance for the divine feminine to take its rightful place in the heavens once more. The winds of change are upon us. There is no turning back. The earth groans beneath the weight of secrets long buried, and the heavens themselves seem to shudder. Asherah, the goddess erased from history, now rises like a phoenix from the ashes of a forgotten past. Her awakening signals more than just a return. It is the dawn of an age where the lies that shaped centuries of faith are torn asunder. The very foundations of our belief system, built upon the singularity of Yahweh's power, now crumble beneath the weight of this new revelation. The gods have not been silent, they have been waiting. The world, once sure of its monotheistic foundations, now stares into the abyss of a divine partnership that was hidden for millennia. Yahweh, the one true God, was never alone. Asherah, the sacred consort, the divine feminine, stood by his side in the creation of all things. Together, they crafted the cosmos, balanced the forces of life and death, and ruled in harmony. But this truth, too powerful to be allowed to exist, was erased, forgotten, replaced by a singular narrative, a narrative of dominance and absolute rule. But now the truth is here, and with it the world is on the brink of transformation. What does it mean when the foundations of faith are proven false? When the gods we worship for centuries are revealed to be part of a greater, more complex divine order? Asherah's return forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that we have been living in the shadow of a lie designed to control and suppress the sacred feminine, to eradicate any trace of equality within the divine. As the divine feminine rises from the ashes of its oppression, the world begins to fracture. The apocalypse is not an event of fiery destruction. It is the unraveling of centuries of spiritual control, the exposure of truths long hidden, and the collapse of an old, broken order. The very air vibrates with the energy of a world on the cusp of rebirth. But this rebirth will not come without consequence. The powers that once controlled the narrative will fight to maintain their dominion. They will try to silence Asherah's voice once again. But the truth cannot be contained. The age of ignorance is over. The divine is no longer a singular, monolithic force. It is a balance, a union of energies that reflect the full spectrum of existence. Asherah's return marks the beginning of a new epoch, one in which the sacred feminine takes its rightful place alongside the masculine. The apocalypse is upon us, not in the form of fire and brimstone, but in the form of divine revelation. The old world is ending, and the new world is taking shape. The time to face the truth is now. The winds of change are blowing, and nothing will ever be the same again. The world stands at the precipice of an ancient revelation, and the air is thick with the scent of impending transformation. Asherah, the goddess of creation, fertility, and the sacred feminine, once erased from the annals of history, now surges forth from the depths of forgotten time. Her return is not a quiet whisper, but a cataclysmic roar that shakes the very foundations of everything we believe to be true. The heavens tremble, and the earth feels the weight of truth about to be unleashed. The divine order, as we've known it, is collapsing. For millennia, the narrative was shaped by a singular, overpowering force. Yahweh, the all-powerful God, reigning supreme and alone over the heavens and the earth. This image of an isolated, monolithic God was not simply a divine truth. It was a carefully constructed narrative designed to silence any competing voices. Asherah, the once co-regent of divine realm, was erased, her name scrubbed from the sacred texts, her power obscured. She was never meant to be remembered. But now, the truth breaks free from the chains of historical suppression, and we are forced to confront the terrifying reality that our faith may have been built on falsehoods. What happens when we uncover the truth that the divine was never one-dimensional? What happens when we learn that Yahweh, the God we have worshipped for centuries, was never alone in the heavens, that he shared his throne with Asherah, the goddess who balanced and complemented his power? The monotheistic narrative that has held sway over human history begins to crumble under the weight of this revelation. The old world is shattering, and with it, the certainty we once held in the idea of a solitary God begins to fade into chaos. The apocalypse is not a distant event. It is unfolding before our eyes as the hidden feminine power rises and reclaims what was always hers. The sacred feminine is no longer a shadow, no longer a distant memory. It is here, returning in full force to restore the divine balance that was lost. But this reckoning is not without its dangers. The forces that once buried this truth, those who benefited from a system of patriarchal domination, will fight to preserve the status quo. They will seek to silence the voices of truth once again. But the floodgates have opened, and there is no turning back. The world is changing, and the winds of revelation sweep through the land, stripping away the old lies and revealing the true nature of the divine. Asherah's return signals the end of an age, the collapse of the world we thought we knew. And with it comes the beginning of something entirely new, something that will reshape our understanding of faith, power, and the very nature of creation itself. The apocalypse is here, not in the form of destruction, but in the unveiling of the divine partnership that was always meant to exist. The world will never be the same again. The ground quakes, a deep rumble reverberating through the heart of the world. The very air crackles with the charge of an ancient power rising. Asherah, the goddess who has been buried beneath centuries of history's lies, emerges from the shadows, her presence undeniable. The veil is torn and the truth spills forth, flooding the earth with a revelation that shatters everything we once believed to be sacred. The heavens tremble and the earth shakes with the weight of this ancient truth now brought to light. For millennia, the world has lived under the illusion that Yahweh, the one true God, stood alone, powerful, unchallenged, supreme. But Asherah, the goddess of fertility and the sacred feminine, was always there, alongside Yahweh, in the divine partnership that created the heavens and the earth. Together, they were not two competing deities, but two complementary forces, balanced and unified. The world, however, was not ready to accept this truth. The powers that controlled religion erased her, suppressed her name, and rewrote the narrative to ensure that only Yahweh's authority would be recognized. Now, that deception is unraveling. The foundation of monotheism, built on centuries of silencing the divine feminine, is crumbling. The apocalypse is not some far-off event. It is the unraveling of lies that have held humanity in their grip for centuries. Asherah's return marks the beginning of reckoning that will reshape the divine order. The veil has been lifted, and the truth cannot be ignored any longer. But with this awakening comes a choice: to confront the truth and face the consequences, or to cling to the comfort of old beliefs, even as they shatter around us. Asherah's return is not simply a challenge to history, it is a challenge to our understanding of the divine. The gods we worshipped, the stories we told, the faith we held on to for so long were built on a singular, distorted vision of the divine. But now the truth is breaking through, and with it comes a world where the divine is not just one, but a balance of forces, male and female, light and dark, creation and destruction. The old world is ending, and the new world is being born. The apocalypse is not a violent eruption, but a slow, inevitable unveiling of truths long suppressed. As Asherah rises, so does the sacred feminine, and with her comes the promise of rebirth. The divine is no longer what we thought it was. It is more, greater, fuller, more complex, and more balanced than we ever imagined. The time has come. The winds of change are here, and nothing will remain the same. The question is no longer whether we will accept the truth, but whether we are ready for the world that is coming. The apocalypse is not something to fear. It is the revelation of what was always meant to be. The sacred feminine is returning to its rightful place, and the world will never be the same again. The world stands in the grip of an ancient transformation as the veil is ripped away and the true nature of the divine is revealed. Asherah, the goddess long buried by time and tradition, rises once more, and with her return, the very fabric of reality trembles. The apocalypse has arrived, not in flames and destruction, but in the unveiling of a long-hidden truth. The divine, as humanity once understood it, was incomplete. Yahweh, the God we've known for centuries, was never alone. He had a partner, a goddess, Asherah, his equal, his complement, a force that balanced his power and shaped the world alongside him. For ages, the narrative of a singular, all-powerful God prevailed, shaping every aspect of human existence. The monotheistic vision erased all traces of Asherah, casting her aside to maintain control, to keep the divine simple and one-dimensional. But now, as the clouds part and the truth shines through, the old lies fall apart. The world stands on the precipice of a new age, one where the divine is no longer isolated, but expansive, embracing both masculine and feminine forces, light and dark, creation and destruction. Asherah's return is a harbinger of the end of an era, a reckoning that will strip away the old systems of power and control. The apocalypse is not the destruction of the world, it is the destruction of the world as we knew it. The age of the singular God is over, and the age of divine balance is at hand. The sacred feminine, long suppressed and erased, now stands tall and proud, claiming its rightful place in the heavens. The truth is dangerous, for it forces us to question everything we have believed. The world we thought we knew is crumbling, and in its place, a new understanding of the divine will emerge. The power of creation, once thought to belong solely to Yahweh, is now revealed to be the product of a divine partnership, a union that formed the universe itself. The question is no longer whether we will accept this truth, but whether we are ready for the new world it will create. As the winds of change swirl around us, we are faced with the ultimate choice: to hold on to the broken beliefs of the past or to embrace the new vision of the divine. There is no going back. The apocalypse has come, not with fire and brimstone, but with the return of the divine feminine. And with her, the world will never be the same. If you were shocked by the revelation of Asherah's return and its impact on the understanding of the divine, get ready, because in the next video, we'll explore an even more intriguing topic: the hidden secret behind the giants and the fallen angels. Don't miss it. Subscribe now and hit the bell so you don't miss anything.